Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Hi, how are you? How is everyone doing today? For you who don't know me, my name is Jordan McLean and I'm here every every Thursday for you to bring you a true crime here that has happened in Canada while I do my makeup. Two things that I enjoy. So if you like true crime and you like people doing the makeup, this is the channel for you. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button down below. So how is everyone doing? What is going on? What is new? I have another cool set of earrings on. These are made by Moss and Sparrow. They're cool little snake. I'm a snake. So yeah, that's my vibe today. Is I got some snakes on and then a hoodie because it's cold in Canada. So yeah, so how's everyone doing? What's going on? It's almost Christmas, which is super, super exciting. Everybody loves Christmas. Everybody loves getting presents. I, for one, am not a huge Christmas person. I do love me some Halloween. I could do without Christmas. Christmases, I just find a lot of people who can one-up each other with gifts. Every year, my family says, we're not going to do a big Christmas. We're going to do just little gifts, and then it always gets out of control. So I could do without Christmas, but that's just me. So let me know what you guys think or what you guys are excited for about Christmas. My grandma's coming, which I'm super excited for. She should be down next week, and I am just ready to see her because I haven't seen her in like 5 years. So I'm really grateful for that. So today we have a good story about Angelina Napolitano. I don't really know how to pronounce her last name, so we're just going to be calling her Ange. And this story originates, it's an older one. It's in 1822 to 1832. She was an immigrant in Canada who murdered her abusive husband. So it was kind of like the first one that sparked the debate about domestic violence and the death penalty. It was huge. It was one of the first. And I'm going to bring that story to you. So if you want to see me go from this to this, then I suggest you guys stick around and get ready for today's video about Angela and how she murdered her husband and what happened. Stay tuned. Like my previous videos, I'm going to try really hard to show you guys what products I'll be using on my face while I do my video instead of me listening down below because that takes forever. So the first one, I'm going to start off with the e.l.f. Putty Poreless Primer. Everyone loves this one. And, you know, so do I. I really do enjoy it. I like using it around my nose to, you know, cover up my pores. So she, like I said earlier, she was an immigrant who murdered her abusive husband in 1911, igniting the public debate about domestic violence and the death penalty. She was the first woman in Canada to use the battery woman defense on a murder charge. In 2005, a story of her marriage and dramatic trial was turned into an award-winning independent film looking at Angelina, sorry. So this is a big one of the ones that put oh my god, that put true crime in Canada on the map. So it was huge. It was huge. It was a big thing, you know. A lot of women don't know what to do, especially an immigrant coming to Canada. They don't really know what to do when it comes to domestic violence. All they know is the significant other. It's a country that's foreign to them, so it's tough. So now I'm going to the Honey Do Me Up NYX primer. It's covered in foundation. But like I said, a lot of women don't really know what they can do or how to escape. And, you know, some people kind of do hold them hostage. And it's not just abusive most of the time. It's also manipulative, physically, mentally abusive. Like there's a lot. If there's kids involved, money, sometimes the women who are getting abused don't make any money. So all they can do is rely on him. So in Ange's earlier life, she was born in Italy. And now I'm going to use the True Mattes foundation. So she was born in Italy about 1883, probably in a small town not too far from Naples. Her family name is unknown. She married Petro about 18, dyslexia is coming in, 1898. And the couple emerged to America shortly after the turn of the century. So he spent most of her life in Italy, which is completely different than Canada. But, you know, they decided to make the trek together to America just to see what it's like. They lived in New York City for 7 years and moved to Canada in 1909. They moved to Ontario then to Sainte Marie in Quebec, where they were a sizable Italian immigrant community. So they decided to move there just because, you know, they might have left Italy, but it feels like home when you have kind of a community based like that. So when you have people speaking Italian, Italian food, Italian culture, you kind of feel more at home than, you know, just kind of hanging out with the white people who only speak English and, you know, do what Canadians do. Sometimes it's nice to feel a little bit like you're back in your old country instead of just feeling like you're stuck here and you gotta, you know, change the way that you view your life just to fit in. So they found this immigrant community and they also had 4 kids. The marriage was violent. Petro beat and threatened his wife. In November of 1918, he attacked her with a pocket knife, wounding her 9 times. So he stabbed her 9 times in the face, neck and shoulders, chest, arms, and leaving scars. He was charged with assault but received a suspended sentence. So he didn't really get charged with anything. Suspended sentence is pretty simple. It's just pretty much like, you know, we kind of do commit that, like, we understand that you did commit the crime, but we're like gonna let you really go. Like, it's really weird. I don't like suspended sentences. I think they're stupid. So now I'm going in with the Maybelline Full Wear. I really do like these two together. I know they're drugstore, but this used to be my go-to when I was in university, and I loved this so much. And I was really trying to find a good foundation that I just enjoyed in the winter because I have to wear a mask for work. So I'm wearing a mask 8 hours a day, and I just find, like, the minute I take it off, it's so blotchy and whatever, and I've been enjoying this one. That's my story. Alright, so the killing that happened. So as the winter of 1910 and 1911 continued, Petru, who worked on and off as a laborer, began to pressure Ange to own money, to build the family a house by prostitution. So he wasn't the nicest guy. He's like, you need to find work. She's an immigrant woman. It's already hard enough for women to, you know, find a good independent job without any type of education, especially back then. She didn't know anyone. She probably didn't speak the best English in the world. She was an immigrant who didn't have the proper papers. So really there was like not much for her to do. So he instantly went to the worst case scenario and was like, why don't you sell your body? No woman wants to sell their body for sex. Well, I'm sure there is some women out there who really do enjoy that. And, you know, props to them. Good for them. You know, if you want to sell your body for sex and you enjoy it, then do it. But if you don't, you shouldn't be forced into it. It should be something that comes natural, like any job. In my opinion, it should be something that you do enjoy because you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life. Now I'm going to do the Fit Me Matte and Poreless. I don't know what it is, but every time I try to use a different powder, nothing competes. Nothing competes. Even the high end. The Charlotte Tilbury I did like, but I just cannot justify spending like $58 on a powder that is just going to be run out like in a second. So he's like, get into prostitution, baby. We need to make some more money, honey. And she was like, no. So on April 16th, 1911, Easter Sunday, when Angela was 6 months pregnant, Petro told her to get out and make money through sex, or he would beat her, kill her, and kill her unborn child. He was going to sleep, and she had until he woke up to get some money. That afternoon, as Petro slept on the top floor of the apartment on James Street, Ange was like, I'm done. I can't do this. I can't live this life anymore. So what did she do? She took an axe and hit him 4 times in the neck and head, killing him. She immediately sought out a neighbor and confessed, adding, I just killed a pig, then waited for the police to come. They found her with her arms wrapped around her youngest child and charged her with murder. So she got to the point, and she's like, there's nothing else I can do. I can't appease this guy. I can't make him happy. I can't do anything else. He said he was going to kill me. I have no one to go to, so I had to kill him. Now I'm going in with the Brooklyn City Bronze and Contour. I like this powder. It's a cute powder. So she didn't know, she didn't think she had anything else. Sorry, my dog, I could hear him like barking in the background, so I had to turn that off for a second to see if everything was okay. Like I said, I like this powder. So at this point, she really didn't know what to do. She didn't want to go prostitute herself. She didn't know how to make any money. She didn't know anyone else except for like her neighbors, acquaintances, stuff like that. She had nothing else that she could do to appease this man, to make him feel like, you know what? I actually do love her, and I'm not here just to just ruin her day. So she didn't know what else to do, so she killed him. So the trial began because, you know, she kind of like just was like, went to her neighbors, knocked on the door and said, I killed him, and I'm just gonna be chilling over here. And the neighbors are like, cool, let me call the cops and we'll like figure this one out, right? The other one is the Essence blushes. Don't sleep on these. $3. $3, pigmented, beautiful. I like these. I was reading about this like really pink blush from Dior, which is like $42. And I was like, I need to find a dupe. And I found this really pink one, and I found another one, and I really do enjoy them. They're one of my favorite blushes out there. So go get it. So the trial began on Monday around May 8th and in 1911 with Justice Bryan presenting, and a Crown attorney there too. So a Crown is like a DA. If you ever watch, if you're from the States or anywhere else, and you ever watch SVU or anything like that, a Crown prosecutor is like a DA. So they are the person who represents the law, and then there's like the defense attorney who represents the client. So they're like, you know, they're the province, and then there's the client. So they're the ones going against the attorney for the defendant. So when the court realizes that Ange didn't have a lawyer, the trial was adjourned for a day to allow the court to appoint a lawyer. So so she could appear in the case. It's not you don't have to have a lawyer there present, but like the law jargon is huge. Like when I was a court clerk, I had no clue what was going on half the time. I was like, okay, I didn't know what the hell was going on. To go to school, right? So it is good to have a lawyer there who can really understand, especially when it comes to the cross-examination. That gets really crazy. Like people, you can't get mad. You can only ask questions. And if you're your own lawyer and you're like, I actually don't like what you just said, you can't really say that, right? You have to just fucking be a lawyer and just be like, okay, right? And write down your notes and just hope that your point got across. It's hard to get your point across without arguing, but it's harder to get a point across when you can only ask questions. The trial resumed on Tuesday, May 9th. They called 9 witnesses to testify that Angela was guilty. So they went straight for the jugular. They're like, she did it. It was her. So they're like, okay, well, we gotta call some witnesses. So they had some of the neighbors, shit like that. They're like, okay, get in here, tell this bitch that she's guilty, and let's get out of here. Simple, straight, right? So they called Angela herself, who didn't speak English well. So when they called her, she was just like, I don't know what you're saying. I don't really understand. But like, she just agreed, right? Because that's how it is. So the lawyer case rested on what was essentially the battered woman defense. So this is like the first time Canada heard this. They're like, what is that? So I'm going to put some eyeliner on, and then I'm going to add some color, but I just want to put the eyeliner on first because I suck at that, and if I mess it up, I can do it off camera. Alright, so I put a little eyeliner on, and then I'm going to take up maybe a blue, maybe a purple, maybe a green. We don't know yet. We'll figure it out. Alright, so as the trial begun, they kind of realized that, hey, she doesn't speak that good of English, there's not really much that they can work with here, and they were kind of like, damn. So this is when they first heard about the defense of woman, battered woman defense, now that I got my English correct. So he argued that his abuse had forced the desperation of Angela to commit the act that she did, and cite the November stabbing. The judge, however, was like, what? So not the judge, it was the Crown prosecutor, I think, was like, okay, what ruled the incident, and argued that if anybody injured 6 months ago could give that as a justification of an excuse, saying that they killed a person due to this, like, throw that out. They were like, no, we're not gonna do that. I don't believe that that is something that actually happened, and he was not for it. But now we actually know that, you know, there is the idea that, especially like a woman, women aren't as strong as men, like physically. We're just not as strong. That's just it, period. And a lot of men use that to their advantage when it comes to women, and they use it as a scare tactic. They really try to use the physicality against women. And especially when it comes to physical violence, women can be 100% physically abusive towards men. They can hit them, they can do whatever, and that's 100% wrong. But if a woman straight up wanted to beat down a man, a significant other, and that man didn't fight back, then there could be some fight, like she might win. But if the guy fought back, the woman could get her ass beat, right? Like, I'm gonna put my money towards a man 10-1 that he's gonna beat that woman. So the Crown's like, joke, this is a joke, I don't want to hear about a women syndrome. There's no way that she actually committed this crime because he was physically abusive to him. She just wanted to kill him, is what he was saying. So the jury's like, maybe. So they went back and they're like, we're going to do a little deliberation and we're going to figure it out and see what happens. Less than a minute, these guys were like, guilty verdict on her. So this whole trial, this whole deliberation, this whole thing lasted for 3 hours. Although the jury said that they sentenced her to be hung, they're like, looks like we're gonna have to murder her because she murdered her abusive husband, who was horrible to her. The execution was scheduled for August 9th, 1 month after Angie's due date. So she was, remember, still pregnant. Remember, she still was pregnant. So her execution date was, right after she was supposed to give birth. So they're like, we'll take the baby, but that's it. Once the media got a hold of this case, it was over. The frenzy began. They were all like, I'm sorry, what just happened? The media was in shock. They were like, this woman. So, but especially in the United States and even Europe. So though some of the coverage was negative, arguing from racist stereotypes, that Ange was Italian, was a hot-blooded foreigner. You know how it is. It's like if, people just take that stereotype and they run. They're like, oh, she moved to Canada, try to get her freedom. She took it for granted. She thinks this is the land of the free. Oh, it's not. So that was kind of running hot. So people were kind of pretty pissed about that. And that she deserved to pay for a crime now that she's in a new country is what people were kind of going off about. Most of it revolved around the sympathetic to the abuse and that she had suffered. So a lot of it did have a lot of the abuse story going on. And for her sentence to be committed to jail time or even probation, a lot of people thought that she did not deserve what was coming to her. They're like, you know what? She suffered enough. That she has suffered way too much. She was being abused by her husband. She was forced to go into prostitution. Like, how much more do you want this poor girl to suffer? The federal minister of justice received many letters from individuals as well as petitions organized by groups in Toronto, New York, Chicago, England, Australia, Poland. So like I said, all over the world. They're like, this has to be stopped. There's no way that this individual should be murdered or sentenced to death because of what happened. So people were just outraged. They were like, whoops, drop that. They're like, oh, no, this should not be happening. So the petitions were sent to the Minister of Justice. And they were like, So a doctor in Idaho, she can't speak today. So he even offered to be hung in Angela instead of Ange, saying it would only be fair for a man to give his life for her, as her life is so precious, and how the man took it away from her. He like, I need to do this. Like, he was like, this is what's gonna happen. This is my favorite lipstick. It's, I want to say a dupe for Charlotte Tilbury's whatever. It's called the Fairest Nude, and I love it. It's so pretty. So guys, like, hang me instead of her. Like, this is too much. A man has already ruined her life by abusing her and essentially trying to force her into prostitution. I think it'd be just fitting that I get hung instead of her. And they were like, nah. So remarks reflected a theme among Angie's supporters, who women in the feminist movement, you know how women are, they're like, well, I'm a woman, but like, they really started pushing. The feminist movement really got behind her. It was like, this cannot happen. We need somebody to essentially put an end to it. Feminists really went off and said the reason why she did this was because of Petro's abuse of beatings, meant the murder was in self-defense, and that the judge was sexist when he threw out the evidence of the abuse. He just said, you know what, this is cool, but we're not going to use the abuse at all. It has nothing to do with this. It only has to do with something that was in the past, and this has to do with what actually happened to him. He pretty much said that him abusing her had nothing to do with the case. The case was her murdering him. So sucks to suck is what he was like. So they're like, he's a sexist pig who needs to be disbarred. The British journal Common Cause, not only the law that Ange, but also the justice system that upheld it, as both bad for women and really helped masculinity. They were like, you're really like putting the nail in the coffin that the guys can do whatever they want to women, but when the minute a woman fights back, it's no. So people were just going, other arguments persisted in letters, including the idea of putting forward by the area's MP that Angela must not be guilty because her pregnancy made her temporarily insane, the idea that Ange should be praised for taking the life of a sexual immoral man, and the argument that Ange feared to be impending doom would abusively affect her unborn baby. Therefore, she had and should be pardoned. So another great thing is, I've never had a kid, but I do heard like mommy or baby brain, stuff like that, where people really, you know, kind of, they don't lose it, but they start thinking differently. Women get very hormonal, and it's crazy. So they were saying that she was just hormonal, and then when you threaten to kill her and her baby, we're gonna have a problem. And she thought the same thing, so she didn't know what to do again. She didn't know anyone, so she's like, gotta kill my husband, and which she did. And they're like, so pardon this bitch. This last was a common psychologist review across the board. At that time, everyone's like, baby brain, that's why she killed them. Let it be. Whether any of these arguments had an impact, the federal cabinet eventually did look back at Angela's sentence and did a life imprisonment on July 14th, 1911. Angela's life is not well known. She did give birth, but the baby died within a few weeks, which is super sad. I would just say the stress, right? Having that much stress on a woman who's pregnant is just ridiculous. Her oldest child was placed in foster homes. She was granted parole on December 30th, 1922, after serving 11 years in the Kingston Penitentiary. Angela reportedly died on September 4th, 1932, at a hotel in Ontario. So that is the story of Ange. And I'm going to put my lashes on, and I'll be right back. So this is my final look with my lashes. So it was just some nice little eyeliner with some purple. And that's it. This one is just making me lose it, this eye. But whatever. So my final thoughts about this case was, can you really murder somebody and justify it unless you're like the military or the government? I find with anything else, it's a very tricky situation. This one, I can't say it's 100% justified. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to justify a murder, but she got to the point where there was nothing else she could do, right? So the whole life, her abuse was justified because no one helped her. If she was he went to like he stabbed her, and then nothing happened. And then he did it again, abused her twice as hard. He got a suspended sentence, which is essentially a slap on the wrist. Like, if you just do a normal criminal record checkup, you're not going to see that. So again, it's just showing that it doesn't matter how many times he abused her, nothing was happening. So she didn't know what else to do to get away. She could run away with not being able to speak English, having 4 kids, and being pregnant with no money. He's the sole person who makes money for them. Like, no, I'm not gonna risk that. So she had to do what she had to do. She had to kill him. My one takeaway was be like, if you were gonna kill him, don't go straight to the neighbors and say you murdered that guy. You know, bish the body, like, get rid of it, biffed it, and then act like you don't know where he went, and just be like, you know, he clearly didn't like me. He hit me all the time. He probably ran away with some young broad. Boom, get rid of the thing, clean your house, call it a day. That was my only takeaway. Just don't go straight, man. But again, you know, she did it out of anger. She did it out of fear. She did it out of having a heightened emotional problem right then and there. And then when she finally did it, she came back to her senses and was like, what did I just do? Because she was pushed and pushed and pushed, and no one was helping her. So, you know, she had to do something to get away from the killer, and she did. And she killed him. It was either her or him at that point. That's like, he said he was going to murder her and the baby. So it was either her or him. And she's like, it ain't going to be me. I'd rather be in jail than watch this soy sucker walk around. Right? That was a thought. That was my thought. I want to know what you guys kind of think about this one. I know there's another case in Nova Scotia about the exact same thing, and I might do that story a little bit later. It was the same thing. They found the guy with a shotgun. He was killed. There was a shotgun beside him, head blown off, which is like super hard to do. And again, it was the wife. It was crazy. It was a crazy story, and they used the battered wife defense. Here it didn't work, but with so much outrage, the government knew they did wrong, so they didn't kill her, but they did take away most of her life, right? And she'll forever be known as the woman who killed her husband. And women, you know, people say we act crazy, and we'll act crazy because we can only beg so much before, and you guys won't do anything, and then I lose my mind. This guy can hit me as many times. And that's the thing. No one's talking about him hitting her and beating her. But all they will talk about is her murdering him. And how horrible that was. Right? Because when I was telling you the story in the case, you're like, oh yeah, hopefully she gets off. No one cares about him and all the abuse that she married him how long ago? And she probably was dealing with that abuse her whole life, and no one seems to care. But everyone cares about him. Right? I mean, about her murdering the guy. Those are the things that really bother me. Like, it just shouldn't happen, you know? Like, they shouldn't be around each other. And I do find toxic people do go with each other all the time. But again, if you're an immigrant, you don't speak English, he's the one that makes all the money, and you have 4 kids, what are you supposed to do? Tell me where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do. How am I supposed to support these kids? Right? So those are my final thoughts on this case. I want to know what you guys thought about it. Let me know down below. And while you're down there, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Get me some followers. Also, I am going to be doing a giveaway once I get 150. And I think right now I'm at 144. Tell your friends, like this video, share it. Get ready for the giveaway. Right? So again, these are earrings. I will be linking the page down below when so you guys can go check them out. It's a pretty cool little shop they have up there. I go up there and do some helping, sometimes mess up, but whatever. But these are super cool. I really like them. And, you know, little Slytherin vibes. So again, thank you guys again for coming on and watching my video and spending your evening, morning, or afternoon with me, whichever one it is. And let me know who you guys think I should do next. I like to toss in some random cases that we don't really know about, or some laws, or some cults. I've been all over the spectrum of Canada. So if you know of a cool case, let me know, and I will definitely try to look it up and do some research. And I will see you guys next Thursday. So see you guys later. Bye.